this is Marvellous Action Figures and I'm Paul, and today I've got a 1/6 scale unboxing. And what a figure it is. This is the S-Hero Doom Monarch. Now it's Doom Monarch, not Doctor Doom for official license purposes, but it is a glorious third-party unofficial figure and it looks exceptional. Soft goods, metal, very light sort of aluminium and sort of die cast armor, great soft goods on the cape here in this fur collar. It's a really impressive looking figure. There are some QC issues with it, but you know, it's not like Hot Toys quality, but it is very good. I'm going to start to articulate it here on the arms. There's not a great deal of movement. The range is quite good. These armor bits come in sections, so it does somewhat restrict the movement. But it's a very good looking figure. There is a range of motion. The arms do move quite well. There's an elbow bend. The knees, there's a generous bend on the knees. Now these are 1/6 scale, so they're very much for display rather than play. Brilliant ankle pivot here, as you can see. And the hinge toe is very good. A little bit loose on that side, on the right hand one, the left as you look at it there. So balancing it, I do have to be a bit careful with, as it does sort of tip somewhat. Not a lot, I'm making it out to be a lot worse than it is, but it's a very nice looking figure. So looking at these fur collars, underneath you've got these armor plates on the shoulders. There's a lot of magnet work going on here. I love magnets on figures. If you look at the little magnet insert there, and then it goes against this little sewn in magnet on the shoulder there on the chainmail. I love magnet work. I think it's really impressive to have, and it makes it so much easier than sort of fiddling around with things on it and trying to, connect things on and clip them on. The magnets work perfectly. So it's a very beautiful looking figure. Now the head, I'm going to talk a bit more about much detail. That is a magnet as well, and you see this joint here, there's no ball joint for it, it's just a round magnet. Now I don't mind that at all, because I always get super paranoid with my Hot Toys when I put the heads on and off, because I don't like those ball joints. I think they break quite easily, and I have actually broken one in the past, but this works well. It really does work, and you can see as I articulate it here, it will move around, so you will get a range of motion on it, which is very good. Up and down is so you've got to just balance it right, but the head doesn't carry that much weight, so it works quite well. So very impressive looking. Soft goods, fantastic. So what I'm going to do now is just start to break down everything that comes with this figure, so you can see what you're getting for your money. Now, I don't normally spend much time talking about boxes on my review videos, but I do sort of show them as we go along, but I must spend some time talking about this box. This artwork for the Doom Monarch is fantastic. It just sings on the front. It's obviously Doctor Doom, you know what you're getting. It looks incredible. Really impressed with it. It's great. Top of the box, you've got this brilliant motif, this sort of really cool, funky. This has been used by Brilliant Cannibal Beast on YouTube. This looks excellent logo, really cool, really funky. I really like the look of it. It's a really attractive looking box. Right, now let's talk about what comes with it. Start with hands. Now there's lots of hands. Biggest gripe though, there's no fists. There's these open splayed hands here. I mean, they look superb. The detail is excellent on them, but no fist. Now, if you look inside all of the hands, you've got this sort of green gem, which is obviously, for his blasts, for his laser blasts. Now, if I get the light on it, there you go. You can just see that lighting up and shining on it. I mean, they look fantastic, but no fists. It's really disappointing. You need the Doom angry shaking fist, or when he's just standing there, hands at his side. You want fists, you need fists. There aren't any. I mean, all the hands that you've got are great. This is a weapon holding and a goblet holding hand. And here is the goblet. The goblet is beautiful. This sort of skull, upside down skull. There you go. It's Doom, so that is probably a real skull. So it's really intricate. He will drink his wine out of that, his Latvian wine. Now I'm going to put the hand in off camera here, because it's a bit fiddly, but it does work. So I'm just going to do that off camera. Right, so here you go. The goblet sits in beautifully in the hand. It grips it well. He would hold that as he was angry. He would hold that as he was toasting his victory. The design and the detail on the hand is fantastic. Really, really good work. It's quite pliable, so it's easy enough to move, but the grip is quite solid, so there's no sort of danger. Didn't need a lot of loosening up. The goblet is plastic at the bottom though, so it does sort of, it's a bit gummy, does sort of wobble around, so you do have to be careful with that, but it looks fantastic. Okay, so here he is, goblet in hand. We'll come onto the mask in a moment, but I'll put the hood off so you can see it. It looks brilliant. It really, really does look good. And again, it sits in that hand so nicely. So it's a very, very impressive bit of accessory for him. So next up, we have this fantastic looking lightning magical blast effect, vibrant green, and this is clever. And again, so this sits into this open splayed hand. You can see there's an actual hole for it, there's an insert there, and then you've got this clip on the back there that built into it, like this sort of ball joint, so that sits really snugly into it. That's not going anywhere when it's in, and then it will a bit fiddly first get in, but that's good because it means it sits in there really, really snug and secure, so that's excellent. That is not coming out, so that I'm just going to put that onto his hand, and I'll do that off camera because it's a lot easier to actually do it, because the armor sections on his arm come in 3 parts. So I'm going to put that on now, and we'll see what that looks like when it's all in pose mode with him. Here he is, all posed up. No one defies doom. Brilliant lightning effect out of his hand. It looks great. Catches the light fantastically well. And it really, really sets off the look of Doom. Well, the colour scheme works with him on that basis. And it's a really, really impressive bit of kit. So maybe we could have done with one for the second hand as well, or maybe a secondary colour. But overall, no complaints with it. It looks fantastic. It works really well. And again, it's so snug in the hand, so there's no danger of that coming out. So very, very pleased with this accessory. Now, the next accessory we've got is, we've got another hand here, and again you've got a clip in the hand. You can see it, there's a peg hole for the hand there, and then you've got this gorgeous book of spells. I mean, it's fantastic. The raised skull on it, the weathering, the texture effect, it's beautiful. It doesn't fold, it is fixed in that position, but look at the style, look at the design on this. It's glorious. It really, really is an impressive bit of kit and as an accessory. And you'll just see on the spine there's a little hole. Now that hole is where the hand goes in, but look at the book, look at this sort of magical spells. It's really intricately designed inside it, and then the effects on the book, it really looks like the page. Sadly, it doesn't turn, it is fixed, but more on what you can do with that a bit later. But then this is the hole I'm talking about here. So on the back there's a peg hole there, there's a hole for a peg, sorry, and then on the hand is a peg, and then that clips in. It gets a bit fiddly to get the angle right, but you effectively is holding the book open in the palm of his hand, and then once that clips in, it will sit against the back of his hand. There you go. So I've got that in there now. So it will sit against that. Oh, just come out again. It's a bit fiddly, as I say. So it sits against the back of the hand. So it will hold the book. There you go. So it will hold the book open. He's reciting the incantations that come from this book, trying to free his mother from Mephisto's realm, as we know he's done in the comic books. So again, it sits in the grey. The hand detail spectacular on this as well, and then the peg joint is in the hand on the wrist, so it drops into that. It's on the arm in the wrist, so then it drops into the hand. So let's put that on now. Okay, so here is Victor Von Doom. He's reciting the incantations. He's refreshing his memory. He's preparing for a new spell. He's one of the world's greatest sorcerers. For how he's going to use this book, it looks really, really impressive. And then I flipped over, put the master version on, and put his hood up on him here. And again, he just looks so menacing. He just looks so imposing. It's a really, really great accessory to have. It looks fantastic, and more now on what can actually go with the accessory, because there's some extra bonus parts which will just make this book sing even more and give you real variety if you do your articulated action figure shots with it. Let's have a look at that now. So if we look at the detail on the book, it really does look like there are pages here, and you've got this sort of weathered effect on the spine. It looks real, it looks well worn, it looks like a really old book for many, many years. So it's a brilliant, brilliant bit of detail. And what you get as extra with this book is in the pack, in the box, there are 3 stickers, 3 sheets. Now they are stickers, and they are extra pages of the book. So they peel off of this backing that they're on. There's 3 of those in total, and they will peel off there, as you can see on the edge there. Just lift it back. So there is the sticker bit. So I could stick that into the book, and then that would change the look of the book. Now I think what I am going to do, so there you go, so there's one there, and then sort of the second one over, and again this sort of looks very different, a real different part to the book. It looks a bit more technical there, and then again somewhat more sort of anatomical there, looking at where the magic would work from, which is really, really impressive. So I think I'm going to do is going to trim those up and keep them as they are as pages, and I can actually have them in, and then you could have the pages moving, so it'll give quite an impressive effect to it. So it's a really, really nice touch and a really extra detail that I'm really impressed by. So well done, S Hero, on that one. Right, and the final accessory to talk about here, it's already on the figure when you get it, is this beautiful, so you've got this beautiful sort of leather look holster, which is quite flimsy. It really, you have to go careful. There's a peg on it there, and then there's just a hole in the pleather, as you can see there. It's really, really flimsy, so you'll be really careful when you undo that. But when you do, it's worth it, because inside is this gorgeous full die. Let me just stand him up here for one moment. In the full die cast Luger. That is beautiful. That is Doom's classic comic book gun and weapon, which doesn't need because he's got full armor, but it looks stunning. It really, really does. So the gun is fantastic. It looks beautiful. It is just gorgeously weighted, and it's a really, really great accessory to go with Doom. So really, really impressed with this. And again, it sits in that grip fantastically well. So when it's in his hand, it's nice and snug, and it looks gorgeous on the figure. And again, it's a real classic look for Doom, so it's a great accessory to have. So really well done on this gun. Another great accessory with this figure. Okay, you're probably wondering, finally going to get to the figure. Let's look at the soft goods now. So this chain is quite light. I mean, it looks great. Those loops just sit over the 2 discs on him. And the soft goods themselves look stunning. It's like a velvet figure, but it's quite thin material. So it's not weighted, which is a shame, because the hood does sit up a bit too much. So you have to play around with it. The tunic is gorgeous, beautiful design, very simplistic. The belt is excellent. The buckle looks superb with the detail on it. Now this is like a pleather look, but again, really flimsy. You can see really, really light material. So nothing like a Hot Toys, but you'd expect that. You're not paying that price for it. But it looks great, and you've got these sort of gold buttons on the side there. So the detail in terms of the look of it, fantastic. Now again, this is going to go on a shelf in a display, so it's perfect for that. Absolutely perfect. The cape's gorgeous. It sits really well. Not wired, which I kind of didn't think it would be. That would have been a real bonus, to be honest, but it could have done with it. But again, it's going to sit nicely when he's on a throne, which I am going to put him on at some point. Now the style and the cut of the cape is fantastic. This fur is beautiful at the top. It looks amazing, and it's really, really snug on there. So impressive. And the cut of the cape, it just sits beautifully on there as well. The folds are fantastic, the perfect length as well. So really, really impressed with the way the soft goods look. They've done an excellent job with it, and it is a stunning looking soft goods figure. Right, let's get into the armour, and it is sensational. It really looks incredible. So you've got this like chainmail effect underneath the armour there. That's like a fabric material. The pattern is really, really good on it, and it complements the armour superbly well. You've got 3 sections on the arm. So you've got the bicep protector, which is here, and again, the patterning is superb. It's so regal, it's so Doom, it's gorgeous. You've got this elbow bit that twists around there, so you've got the like elbow pad protector at the back on that middle section. It does make bending the elbow a bit problematic, to be honest. And then you've got the gauntlets, you see, so the hands move around there, and then the gauntlets, the detail on the gauntlets again is stunning, and the cut of those is incredible. It's a really, really beautifully designed figure. And the armour is excellent, so it looks really well. And again, you can just see the green light there. If you catch that right in the light, that little disc inside, it looks perfect inside his hand. So top half is brilliant, really impressed. the legs, the arm on the legs. So sorry, Dean, just gonna have a look under your skirt there, under your tunic. So again, you've got the chainmail at the top, the protectors on the thighs is gorgeous. The cut, the design, the style, they really thought it through. And again, you've got these sort of, you know, almost like coat of arms effects on them. Very Victor Von Doom. It works perfectly well. It's such a great cut to it. The knee, the top of the boots is excellent. They're quite sharp. They look fantastic. They really set the figure off well, and they don't impact the bend either. And then moving down to the feet, again, there's no expense spared, I think, in terms of the look and the style of these. It just works perfect. It looks like actual sections of armour on the figure. So in terms of this sitting on a display on the shelf, it's gonna look gorgeous. They really have nailed the look of that armor. Super impressed with it. Okay, now let's talk heads. Now, unlike Hot Toys, they don't come with extra heads. They come with one head sculpt on this metal ball, as we talked about there as well. So that's magnetic, and it does really work. I'm quite pleased with that. So the Victor Von Doom, the unmasked head, first of all. So it's, you know, it's the scarred look to it. It's a bit creepy. It's not the best. The eyes look weird on it. I mean, it's not one that I'm going to use quite often, to be honest. What would have been great was to have the sort of, you know, nice smooth head face that you had in Secret Wars. That would have looked quite good. But anyway, here we are with this one. So I won't be using this one a lot, but the detail on it is great. The paint application is excellent. The eyes don't look the best on it, and it just makes them look really old. This first mask, so these all work on magnets, the mask, and the first one sits onto it. It sort of just clips to the side on the metal, and then you've got the second sort of, again, more regal one. Now that sits on a lot better than one of the other masks. So the magnets on this aren't the strongest, and you've got to go careful. Once you've got it on, it does sit on there nicely, but the more comic book look mask needs a bit of help to it. So I'll take a look at that in a bit more detail now. I'll show you that. But again, this one sits on there really well. So this is the more sort of regal, in keeping with the armour. It's got more of the sort of, you know, the pattern in the coat of arms pattern on it. But I'll show you now what the more comic book mask looks like. So here's the comic book mask, much more accurate to the comic. It's a good look to it. I must say, I do prefer the other one, but this has got, you know, the bolt, the rivets around it. So it's a very classic looking Doctor Doom comic book face. But it didn't sit on there very well. It did need some help. I did have to put some like sort of blue tack underneath it just to help the magnets out and keep it in place. It looks good, but it doesn't stay on there as well as the Regal mask, which we'll look at now. So here's the Regal mask. Well, I'm calling it the Regal mask. It looks sort of more maybe movie quality, again, with that more of that texturing and design on the mask, slightly less comic book version, or maybe more sort of the more modern comic book take on it. It looks glorious. It really does. The cut and the design is fantastic. Now this one sits on really nicely, nice and snug. The magnets work quite well because it's a little bit wider, so I think that's why it sits on there a bit better. It works great. You can see the eyes through it, and I think that's really important as well. As you can see Doom's eyes through the mask there, and I think that makes it look far more menacing and really like Doom. So this mask is excellent for me. This is my favorite of all the masks for it, and the sculpts. Well, one last thing in terms of posing in, though, I'm going to be getting a throne thing, but there is this quite cool stand. So it's a crotch stand, which comes with the figure, which is good because it doesn't get in the way of around his waist. 2 points just stick in the back there. A really nice looking design of Doom on it, quite sort of steampunky quite look to it. This is raised and embossed, and there's a sort of silvery groove effect on it. That's quite impressive for Doom on it. It's quite basic other than that, but it looks quite good. But I won't be using the stand, but I did think it was worth showing you what it would look like. So that is the stand. Okay, so an impressive looking figure overall. Slight issues with, what to say, the magnets on one of the masks not being the best. The armband isn't fantastic, and this tunic needs to be a bit more weighted. The hood of it needs a lot more sort of tucking in under the cloak. As you can see here, it doesn't sit the best, so that would need, like I'm doing, a bit more manipulation. I'm going to tuck it in under the fur collar, which it will do. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to scale him up with a few Hot Toys and just see how that looks. Now, I do intend to have him on his own in a display with a throne, but I do want to see how he looks compared to other 1/6 scale figures. So let's do that now, and let's take a look at a few. Right, let's start with Captain America. This is from Endgame. He's got Mjolnir and his broken shield, and this doesn't work. Doom is too small. If you think of him in terms of Cap as a figure, he's big, but Doom should be as big. He should be of an equal size. So that really doesn't work for me, and that doesn't bode well for other figures in terms of his size. Doom should be much bigger, so that does not work. I would not put these in a display together. I don't think that works at all, which is a real shame, to be honest. Right, if he didn't work with Cap, he's absolutely not working with Iron Man. Now, this is such a shame. So this is the Avengers Endgame. This is the Mark 85 armor. Gorgeous, the greatest hot toy in existence. It's fantastic. And thank you to my friend Colin, who got it for me for my birthday last year. But I would have loved these two to work together because of the old classic comic book covers with Iron Man going up against Doctor Doom. But not to be. That scale doesn't work. She'd really have to do some sort of clever posing to get these two together. And that's a real shame because the colour schemes are glorious together. But the size, it just doesn't match up for me. And then continue on the ever-shrinking Doom or the ever-expanding Hot Toys. This is him with Thanos, the Endgame Thanos, and that does not work at all. He was way too small. Now, obviously, Thanos is bigger and imposing than both Cap and Iron Man, but that does not work at all. And Doom should just be a little bit bigger. He should be up to Thanos' shoulder, at least, on this one, I think. So that's a real shame. So, yeah, I wasn't going to be putting him in a display with other Hot Toys figures anyway, but this would have made my mind up for it if I was doing that. And if you are collecting it and you are sort of doing your comic book runs of characters in your 1/6 scale, it might work with other third parties ones, but it definitely doesn't look like it works with Hot Toys ones. So that's a bit of a shame, but it doesn't change my plans. It was going in its own display anyway. Just really wanted to see how it looks. Okay, that's it. That is my look at the S Hero Doom. Overall, I do like it. I think it's a great purchase for the price. So it was 150 English pounds. I think it's a good price, and only paid £30 extra shipping on top of that from KG Hobbies. So I am impressed with it. I do like it. There are some QC. I say the tunic, the hood is one, and the elbow articulation is another. But outside of that, it's a glorious looking figure. It's going to be fantastic. What I'll do is I'll do a follow-up video when I get the throne for it, so you can see it in that throne in the display, because that's going to be next for it. But overall, I am impressed with this figure. But let me know what you're doing. Of course, as always, I'd really like to know, what do you think? Are you getting this figure? What's your thoughts on it? How are you displaying it? What are you going for? What mask are you going for? What accessories? Do let me know. Drop it down in the comments. And of course, if you're not liking and subscribing and you'd like to like and subscribe, then that would be great. I'd really appreciate that. Thank you so much. And if you are liking and subscribing, you know how much I appreciate it. And if you don't, I'll tell you again anyway, because I really do appreciate it. So thank you very much. That's it. I'll have another little look at the figure here now for you. Leave it in a few poses so you can get it in its full effect. And I'll see you on another video. Bye for now.